You should start a YouTube channel.
All the same when your words touch my ears like a razor through skin. Why don't you show me your words? Why don't you?
For the longest time, I have been told, you should start a YouTube channel. You should show people how to do this. You should make videos on this. Well, here we are. This is my YouTube channel. Now, I could tell you everything I know, but what am I standing on? So, let me introduce you to myself and a little bit of the history about me and a camera. If we go back to 2014, the very first time that I actually bought a camera, it was a Sony mirrorless camera. And it wasn't any of like the good ones. It wasn't like a Sony a6000 or anything cool. It was one you bought at Target for $375. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had no clue what I was doing or how to use it. I just knew what shutter speed was because a previous camera I had, it had extended shutter speeds. And I would take a picture and it would feel like 20 minutes to take a photo. And then I would end up with nothing but a field of blur and weird lines. Well, buying that camera eventually would take me down a rabbit hole. But probably one of the best rabbit holes I've ever been on. You see, the camera quickly became my personality. It was everything I'd do, anywhere I went. And I wanted to learn more and more and more about photos, where the inner workings of a camera and aperture and ISO and the autofocus and everything else. And over time, I would start buying more cameras and do more things with cameras. There was just so much more involved that I wanted to get myself into. And I would learn more and more. And eventually I would buy more cameras. And from Sony would go to Fuji and Canon and Nikon and everything I can get my hands on. So this is the history of me and a camera. And I remember posting to Facebook and Instagram, and I would get maybe 1 or 2 likes. But that didn't stop me then, and it's not going to stop me now. Taking photos was a way of me being able to take what was in front of me and make it my own, make it something about myself, a personality of mine, if you will, a way of showing the world what it was that I saw. Whether I was standing on top of cliffs or rocks and I had water below me, whether I was under street lights or New York City or in the dark, somewhere, anywhere, just photos of whatever was in front of me, I could show the world where I was and what I was doing. And to me, that was fun. It led me down this path of finding myself and things that I liked doing that I didn't realize I would actually like doing. So, over a period of buying multiple cameras and posting online and sharing to people, every comment I would ever get on my photos was always negative. But it drove me even further. Every time I would post a photo, it was always, oh, this is blown out, or you have too much of a highlight here, or, you know, your shadows are grainy, but it was never like, hey, you should try this, or this. I'd always have to learn on my own. Like, what is this? What do you mean it's grainy? Why is it grainy? Why are my highlights blown out? And that was the path that I would learn over the next 10 years of my life, is understanding exposure and lighting and everything else. And I never really had the friend to show me or to teach me, so it was always YouTube. It was always videos. It was always just buying a camera, using it, making mistakes, fixing my mistakes, and doing more. So over a period, I would start buying these cameras and learn about bracketing and HDR, and I ended up getting this message on Facebook once. This guy messaged me and said, hey man, the photos that you're taking, they could be great, but your highlights, your shadows, like where they're meeting it just has this glow to it that normally comes from having low dynamic range. Like there's this guy you should follow. His name's Trey Ratcliffe. He does all that kind of stuff. So then I would end up going down this path of HDR and learning about dynamic range and highlights and landscape and being able to give like the greatest details. And then one of the channels I used to follow on YouTube, this guy, Serge Ramali, taught me everything I need to know about how to shoot France. Let me tell you something. I've never been, but after that guy's videos, that is the next step on my list. But then I would learn even more and I would start to dabble in video. But the problem with video was that every camera I had just wasn't good. And not good in a sense that it wasn't good quality. It was just not a good experience. autofocus wasn't there, or I couldn't figure out how to make it so that the video wasn't skippy or anything like that. So it was always a learning curve. And then in 2017, I had the opportunity to shoot my first wedding. And it was not the most fun ever. Like, it was fun, but it wasn't. It was stressful. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't get the exposures right. My highlights were blown out like crazy. They were underneath this cap thing and the bright sun, and not a single clue what was going on. And I would learn over time, just like everybody else would, just like you guys will, just by watching videos like this and watching videos the way I watched videos. You'll learn more, and you'll understand the technology behind a camera and how it equates to the usability and exposure and just getting the right image the way you want it. So I would shoot weddings for about 4 or 5 years. By my 300th wedding, I'd given up. I found my love with music. I've always listened to music. Music has always been a huge thing for me. Whether it's been EDM, emo, rock, metal, it doesn't matter. It's always been something. I ended up following a goal that I had. I went to a concert in 2017, and it was Silverstein. It was the first, 2018 actually. It might have been 2018. It was Silverstein, Hawthorne Heights, and Capstan. And I remember listening to Hawthorne Heights in high school and was just, I loved that music. And I didn't know who Silverstein was at the time. Soon they would become my absolute favorite band, but I had no clue who they were. Well, now I've actually got a chance to photograph them throughout my travels and throughout this whole ordeal with using a camera. But in the meantime, from then until now, I have met a lot of people along the way. I've given a lot of tips and tricks, and I've received a lot of tips and tricks. And unfortunately, it's hard to continuously do them through messaging. Here I am in front of the camera. If this is what you want to see, tips, tricks, how to take photos, how to do videos, how I do them, the process I take for taking my photos, taking my videos, recording, the go-to process, parts of editing. What type of editing do I do? If that is something you're interested in, you're going to want to like this video. You're probably going to want to give me a comment. Maybe tell me what you're looking forward to. The more you guys ask questions, the more I can answer. And the more I can answer, the more videos I can put out there. So help me help you. All you've got to do is hit that subscribe button so you get notifications every time I post a video. Ask me questions in the comments and like the video, I guess, for the algorithm. And this has been my history of using a camera. Feel free to follow along.